Ladies and gentlemen, all right, listen up. Have you ever noticed how some people get downright angry when you start pulling away? Like you choose to take a step back, create some space, and suddenly they act like you've done something terrible. They expect you to be there, caught up in their drama, ready to react every single time. But when you don't, when you clearly show you don't care, that's when the real trouble starts. Why? Because your distance takes away their control. It messes with their expectations, and they don't know how to handle it. If you've ever felt the pressure to stay connected, even when it's hurting you, this speech is for you. Stick around, because I'm about to break down why choosing distance and not caring is the strongest move you can make, and why it drives some folks crazy. Trust me, once you get this, your whole perspective on relationships and respect will change. Choosing distance is often misunderstood. People think stepping away means you don't care or you're giving up, but that's not the case at all. When you choose distance, what you're really doing is choosing your peace, protecting your own mental and emotional health. It's about recognizing that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every relationship deserves your full attention, especially if it's causing you pain or draining your energy. Life throws all kinds of challenges and people at us, and not all of them have good intentions or positive energy. Sometimes those closest to us bring drama, negativity, or constant stress. If you keep yourself tangled in every little conflict, if you always put others' needs and emotions ahead of your own, you risk losing yourself in the process. Choosing distance allows you to step out of the chaos and gain the clarity you need to focus on what truly matters, your happiness and well-being. When you create that space, you give yourself room to breathe and to heal. You're no longer reacting on impulse or out of fear of losing someone's approval. Instead, you're acting out of self-respect. You're telling yourself that your peace is non-negotiable. That is a powerful message to send to yourself and to the people around you. You're saying, I matter too. My feelings matter, and I will not sacrifice my peace just to please others or to avoid conflict. It's important to understand that distance is not about punishing others or being cold-hearted. It's not about shutting people out because you want to hurt them. Rather, it's about protecting your emotional boundaries. Think of it like putting on an oxygen mask first before helping someone else on an airplane. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't take care of your own needs first, you'll have nothing left to give. Choosing distance is a form of self-care. Also, distance helps you see things more clearly. When you're too close to a situation, emotions run high and judgment can get clouded. Stepping back lets you observe without getting caught in the heat of the moment. It allows you to evaluate relationships honestly, who's adding value to your life and who's just taking. You can identify patterns that keep pulling you down, and you can decide whether those patterns are worth continuing or if it's time to move on. Some people may not understand this and may accuse you of being indifferent or uncaring. But truthfully, choosing distance often comes from a place of deep care for yourself. It's about valuing your own peace more than drama or toxic attachments. When you choose to distance yourself from negativity, you're choosing to fill your life with positivity, growth, and healthy relationships. One of the hardest parts about choosing distance is resisting the guilt. Society teaches us that we must always be available for others, especially family and close friends. We get tangled in the idea that if we step back, we're somehow failing or being selfish. But this mindset is backwards. You're not being selfish by protecting your peace. You're being smart and courageous. It takes strength to set limits and say, I will not allow this to affect me anymore. Remember, distance doesn't have to be permanent. Sometimes it's temporary, a break to recharge and reflect. Other times it's more long-term, especially if someone continually disrespects your boundaries or causes harm. Either way, the choice to distance yourself is a choice to prioritize your well-being. And that choice will always lead to a healthier, happier you. When you choose peace over chaos, you start attracting better energy. People who respect your boundaries, who want to support and uplift you, will come closer. The drama and negativity will lose their grip because you no longer feed into it. Your life becomes less about reacting to others and more about creating your own joy. So never apologize for choosing distance. Never let anyone guilt you into staying where you're unhappy or overwhelmed. When you choose distance, you're not turning your back. You're stepping forward toward a better life. You're claiming the peace and happiness you deserve. And that's something worth standing firm on. In the end, choosing distance is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can make. It's a clear signal that you're done sacrificing your peace for the sake of someone else's expectations or demands. It's a way to protect your energy, your sanity, and your joy. And that's why when you do this, people get mad. They're not used to seeing you put yourself first. But you know the truth, your peace is your power, and nothing is more important than that. Not caring might sound harsh to some people, but in the right context, it's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. When you stop letting other people's drama, opinions, or actions control your emotions, you step into a place of real strength. It's not about being cold or uncaring toward others, but about choosing not to let their negativity pull you into a cycle of stress, anger, or sadness. This kind of not caring is about protecting your inner peace and refusing to be a victim of emotional manipulation. We live in a world where emotions run wild, where people expect you to react on their schedule, respond to their moods, and carry their burdens. They want your attention, your energy, and your approval, often without giving much in return. When you let yourself care too much about what others say or do, you give them power over your happiness. Your feelings become dependent on their actions, and that's a dangerous place to be. True freedom comes when you decide that you will not let others' chaos disrupt your calm. Choosing not to care doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities or being indifferent to the people you love. It means you're not letting toxic people or situations drain your energy or dictate how you feel. You learn to set emotional boundaries. You understand that you can't control what others do, but you can control how you react. You decide where to put your energy and who deserves your time. This mindset keeps you from being pulled into unnecessary conflicts or emotional roller coasters. When you stop caring about pleasing everyone or reacting to every little thing, you start living life on your own terms. You become focused on what truly matters to you rather than being distracted by petty issues or negativity. This shift in perspective is life-changing because it allows you to invest your time and energy into things and people that truly uplift you. You build resilience because you're no longer vulnerable to the emotional storms others create. It's important to clarify that not caring is not the same as being uncaring or selfish. It's about caring for yourself first, putting your well, being ahead of needless drama. When you care about yourself enough to not get caught up in every emotional tug of war, you're actually showing a deep level of self-respect. You're saying, I value my peace too much to waste it on things that don't serve me. This kind of attitude attracts respect from others because people recognize that you are in control of your own emotions. Many times, people get mad or upset when you show that you don't care about their attempts to pull you in. They expect you to react, to be available, to give them attention, even if it's toxic. When you don't respond, it confuses them because they're used to having you on their emotional leash. But your lack of reaction is exactly what breaks that leash. It signals that you're no longer accessible to emotional manipulation or drama. This frustrates them because they've lost control, but it frees you. When you practice not caring in this way, you protect your energy and your mental health. You avoid unnecessary stress and keep your focus on building a positive, fulfilling life. This doesn't mean you ignore problems or walk away from challenges, but you choose which battles are worth fighting and which ones aren't. You conserve your emotional strength for the people and causes that truly matter rather than wasting it on negativity. Learning to not care also means you stop seeking validation from others. You realize that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's approval or opinions. This realization is incredibly liberating. You no longer bend over backward to please people who don't appreciate you. You stop chasing after those who take you for granted. Instead, you invest in yourself, your goals, and your happiness. The journey to this mindset can be tough because we're wired to want connection and approval. But the key is balance, caring enough to build meaningful relationships, but not so much that you lose yourself in the process. It's about caring selectively with wisdom and strength. This balance is what creates a life filled with peace and fulfillment, where you control your emotions instead of letting them control you. In the end, choosing to not care in the right way is a form of self-empowerment. It's a way to protect your heart, mind, and soul from unnecessary pain. It's how you show the world and yourself that your peace matters more than the chaos others try to drag you into. When you embrace this mindset, you'll watch how your life changes: less drama, more peace, and stronger relationships built on respect, not control. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most important and powerful steps you can take to protect your peace and maintain your emotional well-being. Boundaries are like the fences around your personal space. They tell people what is acceptable and what is not. Without boundaries, you risk being overwhelmed, taken advantage of, or hurt by others because you haven't clearly defined what you will and won't tolerate. When you set boundaries, you're saying loud and clear that your feelings, time, and energy matter, and you won't allow others to disrespect or misuse them. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear rejection, conflict, or losing relationships. They worry that if they say no or step back, others will get mad or stop liking them. But here's the truth. Real respect and healthy relationships come from honesty and mutual understanding, not from constantly bending to others' demands. When you set boundaries, you show strength and self-respect. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. Boundaries can take many forms. They might mean not answering calls or messages when you're resting, not agreeing to do favors that drain you, or stepping away from conversations or environments that make you feel bad. It might also mean being clear about how you want to be spoken to or treated. Whatever the form, boundaries help protect your energy so you can focus on your growth and happiness. The power of boundaries lies in the fact that they create emotional safety. When you know your limits and communicate them clearly, you reduce the chances of being hurt or overwhelmed by others' expectations. You create space for yourself to recharge and reflect without feeling guilty or pressured. This space is crucial for building confidence and inner strength because it allows you to stay centered and focused on what truly matters to you. Setting boundaries also improves your relationships. When people understand your limits, they know what to expect and can respect you more. It stops the cycle of resentment that builds up when you say yes to everything but feel taken for granted inside. Clear boundaries encourage healthier communication, honesty, and respect, which strengthen connections instead of weakening them. It's important to realize that boundaries aren't about pushing people away or being selfish. They're about caring for yourself so you can be your best for others. You cannot give your best to anyone if you are drained, stressed, or upset because your boundaries were ignored. By protecting your energy, you ensure that when you do engage with others, it's from a place of strength, not exhaustion. Many times, setting boundaries will upset people who are used to taking advantage or controlling you. They might push back or try to guilt you into ignoring your limits. This is where your inner strength comes in. You have to stand firm and remember that boundaries are about your well-being, not about pleasing everyone. The right people will respect your boundaries and appreciate your honesty. Those who don't respect your boundaries may not deserve your energy. Setting boundaries is a skill that takes practice and patience. It might feel uncomfortable at first because you're breaking old patterns of always saying yes or people pleasing. But with time, it becomes easier and more natural. The more you practice, the more confident you become in knowing what you deserve and how to protect it. Remember, your boundaries are a reflection of your self-worth. When you respect yourself enough to say no to things that don't serve you, you're sending a powerful message to the world that you matter. You're creating a life where your peace and happiness are prioritized. In the end, setting clear boundaries is a crucial part of choosing distance and not caring in the wrong ways. It's the healthy way to protect yourself. It helps you avoid unnecessary pain and drama while building a life centered on respect and self-love. When you set and keep your boundaries, you show the world that you are in control of your life. And that control is the foundation of true inner strength. Letting go of toxic relationships is one of the most difficult yet liberating steps you can take for your mental and emotional health. Toxic people drain your energy, bring negativity into your life, and often leave you feeling worse than before. They might be emotionally manipulative, disrespectful, or simply not supportive of your growth. Holding on to these kinds of relationships can keep you stuck in a cycle of hurt, confusion, and frustration. Letting go, on the other hand, frees you from this cycle and opens space for healthier, more positive connections. One of the hardest parts about letting go is the fear of being alone or losing someone you once cared about. It's natural to feel attached because of memories, shared history, or hope that things will get better. But it's important to ask yourself, are you holding on to a relationship because of love and respect or because of fear and familiarity? Sometimes we mistake control, drama, or toxicity for affection or closeness. Recognizing this is the first step toward freeing yourself. Toxic relationships often come with patterns of disrespect and emotional harm. They drain your confidence, make you doubt your worth, and can even affect your physical health. When you're constantly walking on eggshells or feeling anxious about how the other person will react, it takes a toll on your well-being. Letting go means choosing your peace over the chaos, choosing yourself over someone who brings you down. Letting go also means accepting that some people are not meant to stay in your life forever. Not every connection is built to last, and that's okay. People grow in different directions, and sometimes the best way to honor your growth is to release what no longer serves you. This doesn't mean you stop caring or that you become bitter. It means you respect yourself enough to create space for healing and new opportunities. The process of letting go is not always instant. It can take time, and that's perfectly normal. You might feel waves of sadness, anger, or confusion. You might want to reach out or explain yourself. But every time you choose to step back instead, you're strengthening your resilience. You're proving to yourself that your well-being matters more than being caught in unhealthy cycles. When you let go, you make room for new, healthier relationships. People who respect you, support your dreams, and bring positive energy into your life will naturally come closer. You'll find that your life feels lighter and more joyful because you're no longer weighed down by toxic influences. This shift is powerful because it empowers you to create the life you want. Letting go also teaches you important lessons about self, love, and boundaries. It shows you what you deserve and helps you avoid falling into the same patterns again. As you heal from toxic relationships, you develop a stronger sense of your own worth and become more selective about who you allow into your life. This wisdom is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Remember, letting go doesn't mean you're weak or a failure. It means you're strong enough to choose peace and happiness over pain and drama. It means you're taking control of your life and refusing to be defined by someone else's negativity. This act of courage will inspire others and set a powerful example for anyone who sees your journey. In the end, letting go of toxic relationships is about reclaiming your power. It's about walking away from what harms you and walking toward a brighter, healthier future. When you make this choice, you'll notice your confidence grow, your mind clear, and your heart open to new possibilities. That's the real freedom that comes from choosing distance and showing that you clearly don't care about the negativity that once held you back. Choosing self-respect over seeking approval is a game changer in how you live your life and how others see you. Too often, people get caught up in trying to please everyone around them, hoping that if they do enough, they will be accepted, loved, or valued. But the truth is, constantly chasing approval from others drains your energy, confuses your sense of self, and puts your happiness in someone else's hands. When you choose self-respect instead, you take control of your worth and start living authentically. Self-respect means honoring your own values, beliefs, and needs, regardless of what others think or say. It's about standing firm in who you are and what you deserve, even if that means saying no or disappointing people sometimes. This doesn't make you selfish or rude. It makes you strong and genuine. When you respect yourself, you create a foundation that others will naturally respect too. People can sense when you carry yourself with dignity, and that changes the way they treat you. One of the biggest challenges in choosing self-respect over approval is overcoming the fear of rejection. It's normal to worry about what others will think or whether they will like you. But living for approval means you are always on someone else's terms, and that's no way to live. When you put yourself-respect first, you build a shield against this fear. You start to realize that not everyone's opinion matters, and the only approval you truly need is your own. Choosing self-respect means setting boundaries that protect your energy and emotions. You learn to say no when something doesn't feel right or when a request crosses your limits. It means refusing to tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or negativity just to keep someone happy. This choice helps you avoid burnout and emotional pain, allowing you to focus on what lifts you up instead. When you live with self-respect, you also attract better relationships. People who appreciate and value you will be drawn to your confidence and integrity. You won't have to change yourself or pretend to be someone else to be accepted because your genuine self is enough. This leads to healthier, more meaningful connections where respect and love are mutual, not one-sided. Choosing self-respect also empowers you to take responsibility for your life. Instead of blaming others for how you feel or seeking validation outside yourself, you become your own source of confidence and worth. This mindset frees you from being controlled by others' opinions or approval. You stop waiting for permission to be happy or successful and start creating the life you want on your own terms. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback or never compromise. Respecting yourself also includes being open to growth and learning. But the key is that your self-worth is never dependent on other people's approval. You listen to advice, but don't lose sight of who you are or what you believe. This balance keeps you grounded and authentic. Living with self-respect is a journey that requires practice and patience. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to people pleasing. You might face criticism or pushback from those who are used to you bending for them. But every time you choose your dignity over approval, you grow stronger and more confident. Over time, this becomes your natural way of living. Remember, self-respect is the foundation for true happiness and success. When you respect yourself, you're no longer living in fear of judgment or rejection. You're free to pursue your goals, express your true feelings, and build relationships that honor you. This freedom creates peace of mind and a powerful sense of empowerment that others will notice and respect. In the end, choosing self-respect over approval is about valuing yourself enough to live honestly and boldly. It's about knowing that you are worthy just as you are and refusing to shrink or change for anyone. When you make this choice, you send a message to the world, and most importantly, to yourself, that you matter. That message is the key to living a life filled with confidence, respect, and true happiness. Staying true to your feelings and values is one of the most powerful ways to live an authentic and fulfilling life. In a world full of noise, opinions, and expectations from others, it's easy to lose sight of who you really are and what matters most to you. But when you commit to being honest with yourself and others about your feelings, beliefs, and boundaries, you build a strong foundation of integrity that guides your decisions and relationships. Being true to your feelings means accepting them without judgment, whether they're positive or negative. It means recognizing when you're happy, sad, angry, or scared, and allowing yourself to feel those emotions fully instead of suppressing or ignoring them. When you honor your feelings, you avoid the confusion and stress that comes from pretending everything is okay or trying to fit into someone else's expectations. This honesty creates clarity for yourself and those around you. Living in alignment with your values means knowing what is important to you and making choices that reflect those priorities. Your values could be things like kindness, honesty, independence, or family. When you act according to your values, your actions feel meaningful and purposeful. You stop wasting time and energy on things that don't matter to you or that conflict with your true self. This alignment brings peace of mind because you are not constantly battling between what you feel and what you do. One of the biggest benefits of staying true to yourself is the strength it gives you in difficult situations. When challenges arise, having a clear sense of your feelings and values acts like a compass, helping you navigate through confusion and pressure. You don't have to bend or break to please others or avoid conflict. Instead, you can respond with confidence because you know what you stand for. This kind of authenticity earns respect from others, even if they don't always agree with you. Being true to yourself also helps build deeper and more genuine relationships. When you communicate honestly about your feelings and values, people get to know the real you. This transparency encourages trust and openness in your relationships because others see that you are sincere and dependable. On the other hand, if you hide your true self or pretend to be someone you're not, relationships tend to feel shallow and unsatisfying. Eventually, the truth comes out, often leading to disappointment or conflict. Staying true to yourself is not always easy. There will be times when pressure from family, friends, or society tries to pull you away from your values or make you doubt your feelings. Sometimes you may feel lonely or misunderstood because you're not following the crowd. But these moments are opportunities to strengthen your self-awareness and resilience. Each time you choose honesty over conformity, you become more grounded and empowered. It's important to remember that being true to yourself doesn't mean being rigid or unwilling to grow. Self-awareness includes recognizing when your feelings or values evolve over time. Life experiences can teach you new things about yourself, and being open to that growth is part of authenticity. The key is to keep checking in with yourself regularly and make sure your actions continue to reflect who you truly or at any given moment. When you stay true to yourself, you also create a life that feels more joyful and fulfilling. You wake up each day knowing you are living according to your own terms, not someone else's script. This freedom brings a sense of happiness that comes from within, not from external approval or material success. You become the author of your own story, writing it with honesty and courage. In the end, choosing to stay true to your feelings and values is a gift you give yourself and the world. It's a way to honor your unique identity and live a life that feels real and meaningful. When you show up as your authentic self, you inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of honesty and integrity that can transform relationships and communities. That's the true power of being unapologetically you.